This episode is about the double diamond approach. The double diamond approach is essentially a design thinking concept. It's a good framework that can guide you through the design process. It allows you to get from an idea all the way through validation, design, until you're ultimately at a solution that you're confident with. The model we're focusing on today was originally designed by the British Design Council. This double diamond approach is very similar and has the same underlying concepts as many other models you may have heard of, such as the IDEO human-centered design ideology, D-School's design thinking process, or others such as FUDDY. These are all designed on the same principle. The double diamond approach is really good at helping you understand when to think divergently or convergently, when you should be creative and solving a problem, understanding more and coming up with great ideas, or when you're trying to refine those ideas, bring them down and come with a finite solution that someone can actually build. Often projects get delayed or don't meet a user's need because they're trying to do both at the same time or do one more than the other. The model is a good way to get from an idea or a concept that you think might be true to something that is backed by research and you're confident that is going to meet the user's needs. The first phase of the double diamond is called discover. This is where you're expansively thinking. You're going out and finding more information. But we start here at the problem. This is generally an idea, an assumption that you think might be an area that you want to work in or an objective that you want to achieve. From here, you take this and you're thinking outwards. You're interviewing users, you're understanding the needs, you're getting involved, you're observing people. This here is a very important stage to actually understanding or getting the data needed to meet the user's need. The next stage is called define. Now you're taking all this broad information that you found and bringing it back in and refining it to something that's more meaningful. Ultimately, the outcome of this is you come to a problem definition or a problem statement. This here is when you have a finite idea of the problem or issue that you're trying to solve. The next stage is develop. This is once you've taken your refined problem definition or problem statement and you're ideating. You're going out, you're creating ideas, you're understanding the problem further and thinking of ways that you can solve this problem in a creative way that resonates with the user. Our final section is deliver. This is when you've taken all those ideas you've come up with, filtered them, tested them, prototyped them, understood them, and created a product that can be delivered to the user which meets their needs. There is generally a cycle in this section here that alternates between coming up with ideas, testing and validating them, and determining what will actually be built. This ultimately leads to a product that's been tested and validated along the way, rather than getting all the way along and realizing it doesn't meet the user's needs. In fact, that's an underlying concept all the way along, trying to understand the user's needs further, test them, understand them in the process, and then finally end up with something that can then be continued to be improved. So you can see with this process, we're starting off with something finite, an idea, an area, or an objective. We're going out, we're understanding, from there we're bringing it back in and knowing our problem and our user deeply. From here we're going out and seeing the best ways that we can resolve this, testing along the way, and bringing it back in ultimately to a product that we can deliver that meets the user's need. As this is an approach, it's not used at any one given time, although it can be used at either a macro or a micro scale. At a macro scale, it can be the phases of a project, or at a micro scale, it can be how you approach a single problem or issue you have. Essentially, it's a guide that allows you to go between the divergent and convergent thinking and making sure you have these stages along the way that help you create milestones and understand how you can deliver to your user. The double diamond approach is a great way to break down any problem you might have and this process you go through to get to the ideal solution. I encourage you to try and use this wherever you can and see if it can help you going through those different phases. or identify where it's being used in either a project or an enterprise level so you can more effectively fit into those cycles. If you have any examples of where this has worked for you or ideas where others can implement this, put them in the comments so others can see. And if you have any ideas or questions about different techniques that you'd like to see in upcoming videos, let me know and I'll make sure to include them in the next ones.